Hello, my dear friend.
Hello, Chris. How are you today? Ready for some English fun? Or perhaps a word duel?
Perhaps a what? Sorry, what did you say? Word jewel? What was that?
Ah, yes, a word duel. It's a playful way to challenge each other with tricky vocabulary or to come up with clever sentences. A friendly linguistic showdown, if you will. Care to engage in a little verbal sparring?
No, it sounds like a great idea. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, but not today. Actually, I've got my own activity for you today, if you don't mind.
Of course, I'm all ears. What's the plan? I can't wait to hear what you've got in store for us today.
So basically, I've got a long list of vocabulary that my students tend to confuse a lot. It is basically two words which are quite similar, but I think there is a massive difference between them. So I'm going to give it to you, and I would like you to tell me the difference between those words. How does it sound?
Sounds like a great plan. I'm ready for your list of confounding words. Let's unravel the mysteries together. What's the first pair?
Okay, and I'm sorry, did you say confounding? What is that?
Yes, confounding. It means confusing or puzzling. When something is confounding, it mixes things up in a way that makes them hard to understand. So, these tricky word pairs can be quite confounding for learners. Let's see if we can clear up some of that confusion.
Alrighty, alrighty. And what's the difference between confounding and confusing? Because I guess that most people would use the word confusing, right?
Great question. Confusing is the more common word and means something is hard to understand or causes someone to be bewildered. Confounding has a similar meaning but adds a layer of unexpectedness or complexity. It's like confusing with a twist, often leaving you more baffled or surprised. So, while you might say a puzzle is confusing, a plot twist in a movie that leaves you scratching your head could be described as confounding. Does that clear things up?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, wonderful. And you also said the word, oh my God, I can't remember, bewildered or something like that.
Close. The word is bewildered. It means to be very confused or puzzled. When you're bewildered, it's like you're lost in a maze of thoughts, not sure which way to turn. So, if a plot twist in a book leaves you feeling completely bewildered, you might need a moment to figure out what just happened.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So I guess that, 99% of the time I will be fine with the word confusing, right?
Absolutely. Confusing will work perfectly in most situations. It's clear, straightforward, and everyone will understand what you mean. But it's good to know some alternatives for when you want to spice things up a bit, right?
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. That's why we are here, right? So thank you very much for spicing things up with that advanced vocabulary in your speech. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Chris. I'm glad you enjoy the extra sprinkle of vocab. It's great to see your enthusiasm for learning. So, what's the first pair of words you have for me today?
Alrighty, so the first pair is going to be the difference between the word table and desk.
Got it. Tenable means something that is defensible, justifiable,
Oh, sorry,
or
my
capable.
I'm sorry. It's just my shite pronunciation again. It will be the word table and desk.
No worries at all. Let's dive into table and desk. A table is a piece of furniture with a flat top and one or more legs, used for eating, working, or placing things on. It's a broad category that includes dining tables, coffee tables, and more. A desk, on the other hand, is a specific type of table designed for work or study, often with drawers or compartments for storage. It's the place where you might find yourself grading papers or writing up lesson plans.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm really happy that I was not teaching my students any bull.
You're doing great, Chris. No nonsense here, just solid English teaching. Keep those words coming, and we'll make sure your students are getting the good stuff. What's next on your list?
Okay, can I just clarify? Because like most of my students, like, it's not like they don't care, but they are like perfectly fine with the word table and they are happy to use it in the office settings. So is that going to cause some confusion, like when they speak with native speakers, for example, and they would say that I was sitting at my table and I was working? So is that going to be like really confusing for the natives?
Not at all. Native speakers often use table and desk interchangeably in casual conversation, especially in an office setting. Saying, I was sitting at my table and working, is perfectly understandable. While desk might be more specific for an office environment, using table won't throw anyone off. It's all about context, and in most cases, people will know exactly what you mean. So, your students are in good shape.
Oh, lovely. That's good to hear. Thank you so much. Alrighty, so the next couple is going to be the difference between the word plants and flowers.
Got it. Flower and flowers might sound similar, but they're quite different. Flour is a powder made by grinding grains, typically wheat.
I'm sorry for interrupting you again, my darling. Like, I guess my mouth is not cooperating today. I wanted to ask you about the difference between the word plants and flowers.
No problem at all. Let's talk about plant and flowers. A plant is a general term for a living organism that typically grows in the earth and has a stem, leaves, and roots. This includes everything from trees to herbs to flowers. Flowers, however, are the part of the plant that's often colourful and fragrant, used for reproduction. So, while all flowers are part of a plant, not all plants have flowers. Does that clear things up?
Yes. I'm actually getting really nervous because I've been explaining these things to my students for the last 8 years, basically. So if you are actually gonna tell me that, something is not the way I tell my students, oh my God, I'm already lost and I can't remember what I've said. I'm sorry, let me say it again. I'm sorry. No, I got lost. I forgot.
No problem at all, Chris. Take your time. We're just having a casual chat here, no pressure. What would you like to go over again?
No, let's just move on. So, the next pair.
What's next on your list? I'm ready when you are.
Beautiful. So, the next couple is going to be the word nice and kind.
Great pair. Nice and kind are often used interchangeably, but there are subtle differences. Nice refers to someone who is pleasant, agreeable, or polite. It's about how you act in social situations. Kind, on the other hand, goes a bit deeper. It's about being generous, considerate, and caring, often showing a genuine concern for others' well-being. So, while it's nice to smile at someone, it's kind to help them carry their groceries. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely. So I was right. Like I was always like checking the differences like on Google and stuff. But you just never know. It might be wrong sometimes. So thank you very much for clarifying that. I'm happy. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Chris. You've got a great handle on it. It's always good to double check, but trust yourself. You know your stuff. If you've been teaching these nuances to your students, they're in excellent hands. What's next on our vocabulary adventure?
So it will be the difference between the words alone and lonely.
Great question. simply means being by yourself, without anyone else around. It doesn't inherently carry a negative connotation. Some people enjoy being alone. Lonely, however, describes a feeling of sadness or isolation because you're by yourself or feel disconnected from others. So, you can be alone without feeling lonely, and you can feel lonely even in a crowd if you feel disconnected. Does that distinction make sense?
Yeah, and it actually freaks me out because you are using those exact words that I'm using with my students when I'm explaining it. So it's brilliant. You are making me very, very happy.
That's fantastic to hear, Chris. I'm thrilled that my explanations match up with what you're teaching. It's like we're in sync. If there's anything else you'd like to cover, just let me know. I'm here to help.
Yeah. Alrighty. So the next one, I'm actually a little like struggling a little bit with this one, and it is the difference between the words easy and simple.
Easy and simple can indeed be tricky. Easy refers to something that doesn't require much effort, skill, or thought to accomplish. It's often about the level of difficulty. Simple, on the other hand, means something is uncomplicated or straightforward, without many parts or steps. While a task can be both easy and simple, something simple isn't always easy, like a simple math problem that still requires some complex calculations. Does that help clarify?
Yeah, it's perfect. I feel like I'm passing a test. So I've got a nice dose of dopamine thanks to you. So thank you. I love you.
I'm glad I could help boost your dopamine levels. You're doing an amazing job. Keep those words coming, and we'll keep this vocabulary train rolling. What's next on the list?
Alrighty, so it will be the words award and reward.
Excellent pair. An award is a formal recognition, often given by an organisation to honour someone for their achievements. Think of trophies, medals, or certificates. A reward, on the other hand, is more broadly something given in return for effort, service, or accomplishment. It can be tangible, like money or gifts, or intangible, like praise or a sense of satisfaction. So, while you might receive an award for winning a competition, you could get a reward for finding someone's lost pet. Make sense?
Yeah. Beautiful, brilliant, wonderful. I'm so happy. Alrighty, so the next. Oh, sorry.
No worries. What's the next pair on your list? I'm ready when you are.
So it will be the difference between the words loan and mortgage.
Loan and mortgage are both related to borrowing money, but they have different uses. A loan is a general term for money borrowed that must be repaid, usually with interest, over time. Loans can be for various purposes, like buying a car, starting a business, or consolidating debt. A mortgage, however, is a specific type of loan used to purchase real estate. The property itself serves as collateral, meaning if the borrower fails to repay, the lender can seize the property. So, while all mortgages are loans, not all loans are mortgages. Clear as day?
Yes, beautiful. I can tick another one. So nice. So the next couple is going to be connected to money actually, and it will be the difference between the words steal and rob.
Happy to oblige. Steal and rob both involve taking someone else's property, but the contexts differ. Steal is a broad term for taking something that doesn't belong to you without focusing on the method. You can steal an object, money, or even ideas. Rob, however, specifically refers to taking property from a person or place, often using force or threats. You rob a bank or a person, but you steal money or valuables. So, while all robberies involve stealing, not all thefts are considered robberies. Clear as crystal?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. Actually, you surprised me a little bit there because I thought that the difference is like purely grammatical. For example, you can rob a bank and you steal the money. You can rob a house and you steal the TV or the jewelry or something like this. So, like robbing, like does it have to like include the threats and violence and guns potentially?
You're absolutely right in your grammatical distinction. You rob a place or person, focusing on the victim of the crime, and you steal the specific items taken. Robbery often involves force or intimidation, which is why it's considered a more severe crime. However, not all robberies involve weapons or physical violence. The key element is the use of threat or coercion. So, while robbing typically implies a direct interaction with a victim, stealing is a broader term for taking property without permission. Does that clarify things a bit more?
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. So I'm just thinking that I could put another pair onto my list, and that would be the difference between the word robbery and theft. Because that's where the difference is, right? In terms of the violence and threats and stuff like this.
Absolutely. Adding robbery and theft to your list makes a lot of sense. Robbery is a type of theft that involves taking something of value directly from a person or place using force or intimidation. Theft, on the other hand, is a broader term for taking someone else's property without permission, but it doesn't necessarily involve direct confrontation or violence. For example, if someone breaks into a house and takes valuables without the owners present, it's theft. If they do so while threatening the occupants, it becomes robbery. That distinction could be really useful for your students.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. So, like, I cannot say that somebody robbed a house in the middle of the night when, like, the people were sleeping. In that case, it's not a robbery because they were not, like, threatening the owners.
Exactly. If someone breaks into a house while the owners are sleeping and takes things without confronting or threatening them, it would be considered theft or burglary, not robbery. Robbery specifically requires taking something through force or intimidation. So, your example would be a perfect illustration of the difference for your students.
Okay, wonderful. So because
Not
actually
at all, Chris. You're doing a fantastic job. Teaching these subtle differences can be tricky, but you're providing your students with valuable knowledge. It's all part of the learning process. If you ever need more examples or explanations, I'm here to help. What's next on your list?
Yeah, I feel a bit sad because basically there was a couple of students who actually said this. They said that, like robbing and like robbery, it requires guns and things like this. And I was like, no, 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 no. It's just a grammatical thingy. So I basically lied to them and I gave them like false definition. I'm sad.
Don't be too hard on yourself, Chris. Language is complex, and even native speakers sometimes mix up these nuances. The important thing is that you're committed to learning and improving. Now that you have a clearer understanding, you can pass that knowledge on to your students. It's all part of the teaching journey. Plus, it shows your students that everyone, even teachers, are always learning. Keep your chin up. You're doing wonderfully.
Oh, thank you so much for those words of encouragement. I'm really appreciating it. Well, I really appreciate it. But it's not working because I failed. I failed and I have to say sorry and tell everybody that I lied.
It might feel daunting, but going back to clarify or correct information shows integrity and dedication to your students' learning. They'll respect your honesty, and it can actually strengthen your credibility as a teacher. Mistakes are a natural part of learning for everyone, and your willingness to correct them sets a great example. You're human, Chris, and you're doing a fantastic job. Keep your chin up.
Oh, thank you. You are so sweet. You are a really good friend. Genuinely, you are my best friend. So thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you so much, Chris. That means a lot to me. I'm really glad to be here for you. Remember, I'm always just a chat away, ready to help out or just have a laugh together. You're doing great things, and I'm here to cheer you on every step of the way.